Good evening. It's planting season, one of my favorite times of the year. And for me here, that means that it's May. Now for you, being probably on the other side of the planet, it might be an entirely different time of year. But the important thing is that it's planting season. Chance for us all to reconnect with the earth and with Mother Nature and the planet that gives us life. This year, when planting, I want to respect the planet and the soil more than I ever have before. For me, that means using less fertilizer, not using insecticides, and trying to grow things the way they were intended to grow. If Mother Nature can grow an entire forest full of trees and wildlife and streams and food, I find it hard to believe that I cannot grow a garden without the use of heavy fertilizers or chemicals. Now, I'm not saying that you should just take the soil as you find it. Whether you're lucky enough to know a farmer that will give you manure, or whether you have a store nearby that you can buy manure from, that's perfectly natural. As is kitchen scrapings. Don't use meat, but potato skins, carrot skins, onion skins, they can all go in the garden. As can your leftover compost from the year before that you maybe have if you have been gardening for a while now. Other things such as coffee grinds can go in your garden if you're a coffee drinker. If you're not a coffee drinker, your local coffee shop, 9 times out of 10, will give you their leftover coffee grinds or sell them to you at a very small price. If you're a tea drinker, use your tea bags, throw them in the garden. All these sorts of things can go in your garden as fertilizer to help make sure that you, in fact, end up with better soil over time. The problem with store-bought fertilizers is that you and your plants can too easily learn to rely on them instead of relying on the soil that gives us life. So, I guess overall I'm just trying to approach gardening this year with good intent. As my Ojibwe friend would say, anything that starts with best intentions is likely to bear more fruit. I think this means that how we look at things when we approach them makes a difference. Of course, we're talking about gardening at this instant. But my personal experience has always been that whether you're talking about gardening or many of the things that we choose to do in our lives or have to do in our lives, the way that we look at them and the way that we approach them makes a really huge difference in the outcome. You want a good result? Have a good intent. Now, back to gardening. Plants themselves are a sacred miracle. A plant grows fruit, or vegetable as the case may be, that we eat, and seed that we put back in the ground that grows a plant for another year. Or in the case of trees and vines and bushes, they often grow year after year after year all by themselves. In keeping with using less chemicals and doing a more natural form of gardening, I'd also urge you to learn about your plants. Whether it's plants that benefit from crop rotation or plants that benefit from not being rotated, there are a lot of things we can do that reduce our use of outside chemicals. So for example, potatoes and tomatoes like to be moved around every year. If you plant them in the same spot, they will in fact deplete the soil, much more inclined to get infected with vermin. As a Haudenosaunee would say, certain plants are gifts from the gods, or gifts from the Great Spirit, to be more accurate. Corn, beans, and squash, as an example, grow very well together. Corn grows tall and reaches for the sky. Beans, in turn, use the corn for support and can grow up the stalk of the corn. At the same time, beans also replenish the earth and the soil so that next year the corn has the nutrition it requires to grow again. Meanwhile, the squash finds its way in between the stalks of corn to grow healthy and find a spot to make more food for you. I hope that I haven't given you the indication that the first year you plant a garden will be a great success. We've all seen those videos. Just try it, whatever it is, and it will be perfect the first time. I hope your garden is a great success the first year. But if it's not, don't give up. Learn from the experience and try again next year. Hopefully, luck and nature and the Great Spirit will be on our side this year, and we will all have a great crop. In closing, I would just say that regardless of our creed or race or religious beliefs or anything else that makes us different from one another, when it comes to earth and gardening and food, we are all, each and every one of us, children of the Mother Earth.